In a poem called Out of Order, the author describes how he felt when he saw a father and a little boy approach a popcorn machine that was out of order. And it goes like this. "You can't get any popcorn, son. The machine is out of order. See, there's a sign on the machine." But he didn't understand. After all, he had the desire, he had the money, and he could see the popcorn in the machine. And yet somehow, somewhere, something was wrong because he couldn't get the popcorn. The boy walked back to his mother, and he wanted to cry. And Lord, I too felt like weeping for people who have become locked in, jammed, broken machines, filled with goodness that other people need and want, and yet will never come to enjoy because somehow, somewhere, something has gone wrong inside. You know that faith, when everything is good and perfect and makes sense, it's so much easier to believe. We pray for something, it happens. Good wins over evil. All seems right with the world. That, I'm afraid, is logic, not faith. For every time that happens, there are countless times that it does not. And many times we feel like that little boy staring at that popcorn machine. I'm trying to do the right thing, trying to live the right way. All kinds of good possibilities are right there in front of me. And yet somehow, life is not working. I'm afraid that that's where real faith begins. Does it not strike you odd the way that Jesus treated this anonymous Canaanite woman in this gospel? He never attacks anyone unless he senses that they're closed-hearted, that they're closed to his message, that they won't allow for it, they won't really listen, and so on and so forth to his teaching. And she is certainly the opposite of that. And yet this is kind of a messy scene, especially for Jesus. He's usually kind of in control, but here's this woman crying out for her daughter, paying no attention. He begins with the silent treatment, and that only complicates matters because she's crying out, and the apostles want to get rid of her. Dismiss her. She's not one of us. But the woman stands her ground and continues and goes forward. And then Jesus ends the silent treatment and begins to insult her, comparing her even to a dog. Even that does not deter the woman. What a difference between this woman from Cana and Peter a week ago in the gospel, where the moment he had the desire, and then the moment he perceived the waves and the storm and all that, he immediately started to crumble and fall into the water, and Jesus had to lift him out. Why? What's the difference between these two people? They both have faith of sorts. The woman doesn't really know that much about the Hebrew religion, but she knows and have heard about this miracle worker, and her daughter is desperately ill. And so the difference is, in a word, love. Relentless love. Loving her daughter are priorities 1, 2, 3, and so on. It's pretty easy to become a Christian. If you desire to be baptized, you're in. But it's a challenge to live as a Christian. To be a modern-day disciple is as difficult today as it has been at any point in time. It's never been easy. It wasn't easy in Jesus' day, it hasn't been easy through the years, and it's not easy today. We have wants and needs in life, and they may seem important, but they pale in comparison to so much of the world. So many people without food, without shelter, without clothing. People who live in a different world than ours, who live only several blocks away from this church. What happens when we walk up to that popcorn machine of life and find that it is very much out of order? Do we cry? Do we give up? Do we denounce God or life itself? Are we feeling like we're not paid attention to, not listened to by God and Jesus? And so we are insulted as we don't seem to matter? The final line of that poem, that something had gone wrong inside, is what we need to look at. The gospel today is urging us to be different. Our God is looking for people who are strong during life's storms, people like the Canaanite woman. Now more than ever, in the midst of the COVID virus and some of the ramifications that have come out of it, now more than ever the world needs these strong people. People who lift one another up instead of shoving them away. People willing to be a light for others who might be in a very, very dark time. If we reach down deep within us and allow pure love to be our motivation in life, and if we dare to hope and continue to believe, then that can be us.